There it goes now. You should see
All
it now.
right, now I see it. Yep, it's
Yeah,
going now.
I had it paused for a minute. We're going to go ahead and get started, and I hope others will join because we don't have but about 21 students so far, but we have a lot to cover tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Those of you that have joined us so far, thank you for joining us for this. This is a a very, very important night because it's the only night that we have dedicated to to give you full assistance with the work you're going to be doing with the AAPTEL. That doesn't mean that we won't do other times, but it will not be dedicated to a night just like tonight is. We told you that, or Dr. Lamb explained from the very beginning that about midway that we would start doing gradual release. This is a part of it. You know, you will not get as much attention with the AAPTEL as you got with the APSL because we're going to teach you how to be more independent with the work that you're doing. But with that in mind, and you can find this in your Blackboard under week 8, this is what tonight basically is going to look like. We may deviate from it a little bit, but that's okay. This gives you basically a format to follow. Excuse me. Dr. Revis is going to talk to you briefly about just some APA reminders. If Dr. Hamilton's able to join us, she will join her as well. But if not, she's just some brief reminders of APA. Then I'm going to just do a review of AAPTEL Task 1 because that was fully discussed in both classes on Tuesday evening. And then when you get to AAPTEL Task 2, that refers back to Task 1, and Dr. Lamb is going to take the lead on that unless Dr. Hamilton is able to join us tonight. And then Dr. Revis is going to take Task 3, and I haven't seen Dr. Crawford yet, but if he's here, he'll do Task 4. If not, then I will take Task 4, and then Dr. Lamb will bring closure at the end. And with the work that Dr. Lamb's going to do, he's going to do some reminders about what you need to do in Task 2 and the work that you need to with Qualtrics, what he introduced at the very beginning of this semester. With that in mind, I'm going to bring up and some of this, I will not go over everything with this. Just remember, we're dealing with evidence to the AAPTEL analysis and action plan for teacher empowerment and leadership, as was discussed on Monday night and Tuesday during class. You're going to do this the same way that you did the APSL, follow the same process. Remember, you're going to use the template.
Mitchell,
the template that
come into the door.
Would everybody mute themselves, please? We're going to use the template that's provided for you in Blackboard. Do not deviate from that. Again, if it's in black, it stays. If it's in yellow, remember that you've got to put some narrative work there. That means you got to do something. And if it's red, that means that those are suggested helpful hints of things that you can include in the work. When you do all that, you take the yellow away, you take the red away, but make sure that you leave all the black. The school profile will stay the same unless you have moved or changed schools, or unless there's something that you decide that you want to edit and add to what you've already done, but that will remain the same. I think this is important. I just want to, and Dr. Lamb has stressed this, but you will find this when the AAPTEL is introduced in Blackboard, the work that you find in Blackboard. This, again, reiterates the purpose of this evidence, and it's for you to demonstrate success as an educational leader in relation to empowering teachers to become effective leaders and decision makers. The task of the artifact will provide you with opportunities to collaboratively analyze and create a growth plan, a teacher growth plan that's going to reflect the empowerment of teachers. And as we're going to point out tonight, it talks about the relevant research. Again, those of us that are here tonight will remind you of key seminal researchers that's going to that you need to include in the work that you do. And with that in mind, let's look at prompt 1 again, just very quickly. Prompt 1 of task 1. Remember, you're going to conduct a literature review with a bibliography, and with this, you've got 5 areas that you're going to be working with. These are your topics. Topic 1, that's your heading: building efficacy and empowerment among staff. And you're going to research that with a minimum of 3 references. Remember that there's many, but you need to make sure that you are looking at the key people. And Dr. Revis, remind them who is the key person they need to look at there.
Bandura,
Albert
and then Whitaker has some things on teacher empowerment.
Right. Those are 2 key people that you need to include in your research. Then the next topic is research-oriented professional development. And this, Dr. Lamb's going to say some more about this again, but Dr. Revis or Dr. Lamb, who are the key people they need to look at there in that research?
Well, for school-wide teacher empowerment, we look at Todd Whitaker. And for empowerment within the classroom, we look at Robert Marzano and the Midwest Consortium, what's commonly known as McRail, their 9 high-yield strategies.
Okay. And you're going to stress that more in task 2 when you get there.
I will.
The 3rd area, recruitment, placement, and mentoring of school staff. Approaches to and for evaluation of school staff. And remember, we don't want to see in this area, we don't want to see just a duplicate of the evaluation system for your district. That's not what we're looking for there. Remember, all of this is, what does research say? What are the best practices for evaluating school staff effectively? What does the research say? And then the last one is teacher leadership and decision making. And again, I'm not rushing through these, but these are going to be stressed much more when you get when Dr. Lamb gets to task 2 as he refers back to them. But remember, these are your 5 areas. These are your 5 topics. Each one of them is just a mini research area in itself, and a minimum of 3 references. It's the same thing that you did with your research with the AAPTEL. And Dr. Revis, this may be a good time to remind them of what you need to remind them of about APA, just APA reminders here.
Okay, well, let me share my screen right quickly.
Okay, I'll stop and then I'll come back. Okay.
And I just want to pull up a couple slides that we used. I guess it was week 2 probably.
It was.
That Dr. Hamilton and I did a APA review session with you. But the 3 of us, Dr. Hamilton, Dr. Stebbin, and I, talked about what are some of the errors that we're still seeing. And so it's a little appropriate right now because your task 1, you're going to have to do some research. So in-text citations, remember that if it's 1 to 2 authors, you put them both down. Of course, this bottom one here with the page number is when I'm using a direct quote. If it's 3 or more authors, we use the et al. The period goes after the all, comma, and the date. And then, of course, if it were a direct quote, I would use the page number. So as you see, this first one has the big red X because it's more than 2 authors, and it should be correctly written as the et al. Now, I added this one slide in here just to show you a little bit of the things that we are seeing. You're going to have to write narrative mini research sections on each of those 5 topics. So in-text citations, guys, you got to learn how to do them. You can do it narratively, where you say the author's last name and note. I do not put Dr. Stedman's first name. I do not put doctor in front of it. It's just Stedman and the date immediately following. Propose that students who attend live virtual class sessions scored higher on final exams than students who merely watch the recordings. Or you can put in a narrative citation, it might show up in the middle of the sentence, but still only with author's last name. Also notice, I do not name the reference or the resource from which I gathered this information. I don't put down the name of the journal. I don't say in a study conducted by Dr. Stedman, 2022, from Educational Leadership. No, I don't put that in there. That's what your reference is for. Or you can do it at the end of the text. And that, of course, make sure that, excuse me, you do not put a period here. The period goes after the citation. And of course, if it is, if it is a direct quote, you have to include the page number. Period after the citation. Okay. We did this little exercise when we went through this, but we're not going to do that. Make sure that for every in-text citation you have, you put in the corresponding reference. But if I use the same reference a couple places in my different sections, I only put one reference for the same author and date of publication. And of course, your appendices are at the very end. And then there's one other thing. I think we still had some people forgetting about our numbers. Numbers 0 to 9 are written in word form. Above 9 would always be written out as a number. And never begin or end a sentence using numerals or percentages. Dr. Stedman, can you think of anything else we're seeing that we need to mention?
Again, a reminder about the numbers, because I had to send it back. Some of you wrote out 127, 101, HUNDRED, 27. Do not do that. Just remember numbers 0 through 9, the number, and then you write it out, the word form, and then beyond that is the number, and don't begin or end the sentence with numbers. So just I think that's it, Dr. Revis. I think that
Okay.
in a nutshell, just as a reminder.
Okay, I'll stop share.
Okay, and then I want to just pull this back up again before okay, this takes us to, okay, let me see. Okay, and then in prompt 2, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this either, because Dr. Lamb is going to really focus on this in task 2. But remember that you're looking, your job is going to be to look at teacher leadership and empowerment inside the classroom and outside the classroom as it relates to the teacher. And with that, you're gonna create, or you're gonna use a checklist, and you're going to use a survey. The checklist will help you look at teacher leadership and empowerment inside the classroom. And if you already have a walkthrough instrument in your school, then we highly recommend that you use that. If not, Dr. Lamb's going to show you again what you need to do. And then outside the classroom is the survey. And again, that's going to be talked about in task 2 as well. But the key thing is, in task 1, prompt 2, you are only going to show us the checklists that you want to use. You're only going to show us the survey that you want to use. You're not using the checklist or the survey yet. You've got to get it approved in task 1, and then you will use it in task 2. And with that in mind, I'm going to stop sharing, and Dr. Lamb, you can take it from there.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Stedman. Let me share my screen and we'll go to. We'll go to this one that Dr. Hamilton put together for us. So I've got everything queued up. So I am going to stop my share again, and I'm going to ask you a question. This is the first pop quiz of the evening. And anybody open your mic and answer this one. What is a non-monetary incentive? Does anybody know? Non-monetary incentive.
Something that doesn't involve
That
money,
is-
like a jeans
Right.
pass.
I'm sorry.
An incentive that doesn't involve any type of money. So like if a principal gave out like a jeans pass or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
But
extra credit.
is that really an incentive? That's more of a reward, isn't it?
Mm.
What is a non-monetary incentive?
Mm.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you. A non-monetary incentive is a item or process that doesn't cost us anything, but incentivizes or encourages or motivates employees to do more and better than the norm. That's probably not in Webster's dictionary, but my point here is what we have to do as school administrators is find ways to incentivize and motivate teachers that aren't based on money. Can we give teachers more money in public school? Can we just hand them more money and say, you did a really good job this week. I'd like to put another $100 in your paycheck this week. Can we do that? We cannot. And so what we are tasked to do as school administrators is find ways to motivate our teachers. And the whole notion of the AAPTEL is we want to support and identify and grow our teachers inside of the classroom so that they become empowered in their classroom. They become efficacious. They feel like they can do it. And then we can't pay them more money, but we can incentivize them by giving them leadership positions throughout the school. If you want to build a culture of teaching and learning in your building, you must grow your classroom empowerment of your teachers. And the reward system for that, the incentive system is that those people then become the school-wide leaders in your building. So what you will find almost everywhere in buildings that have a high level of empowerment inside the classroom, teachers do a really good job with high yield strategies. They're high performing schools, they're high growth schools. You'll find that teachers are incentivized. There's a high level of them getting to do the school-wide empowerment tasks. The best teachers end up being the school leaders, and that encourages everybody else to up their game. That's the notion. That's the secret. I have just given you the secret of how to build a culture of teaching and learning in your building instead of a culture of, oh, woe is me. It's all about me. I've had it terrible during the last 2 years kind of thing. Everybody's had it bad. It hasn't been specific to teachers. I'm not discounting what teachers have been through, but we need to focus. We need to get the focus off of, oh, woe is me, and back on what our task is. It's creating a culture of teaching and learning back in our buildings. We're forgetting that now. We've lost that. It's become all about us again. We've got to refocus ourselves on the culture of teaching and learning. What do they do at Jones Sausage? They make sausage. What do we do in school? We teach kids. We get performance out of our kids. That our job as an administrator is to make a good number go up or a bad number go down, period. We don't teach a soul. We're not in the classroom. We don't add value in the classroom. What we do is we add value other ways. We build a professional growth plan that addresses both the in-class needs, the high yield strategies, how we're going to get those to teachers and work with them on those, but also we're going to give them opportunities like teaching other teachers, being involved with school improvement plan, be involved with curriculum, be involved with the budget, be involved with with hiring. We're going to give them roles and incentivize them. And once everybody around your building figures out, hey, if you want to be in charge around here, you better be a good classroom teacher. Everybody gets the message. You don't use it as a stick. It's not a stick, it's a carrot. You can't punish your way to good behavior. The whole notion here is we're incentivizing these people to be better in their classrooms, to do a better job. We learned about EVOS earlier, that we need for them to add value. And that's the whole notion here. And we're going to grow our school into the kind of place that we can be proud of. So when we go to task 2 of the AAPTEL, the first thing that we're going to do, we've identified our survey and we've identified our checklist. Now, again, as Dr. Stedman said, if your district does not have a standard walkthrough form, you will use the 9 high yield strategies in a checklist form. Either they do it or they don't, they do it well. Let me share my screen and go to Dr. Hamilton's PowerPoint. Again, okay, you got a survey that you're going to administer. Remember, you can't survey for best practices because teachers will all tell you that they use best practices. You got to use the checklist and go and look. If your district doesn't have one, use the one that's in the template. Let me pull that one up right quick. Use this one right here. Just make you a quick and dirty document that says it has these 9 things. Are they doing it or not doing these things? Again, if you don't know what that looks like in the classroom, there is a document in your shell that's called Marzano that will tell you exactly what these things look like. I had it pulled up a little bit early, but I see that it's now gone, but I can get it back in just a second.
And Dr. Lamb, all of that is in their Blackboard shell.
Yes, right here, it tells you what they are. You can flip that upside down. We have that one. We've got this one. If you don't know what they look like, if you don't know what identifying similarities and differences look like, your search says that this is what the student should be able to do, and this is what it will look like in the classroom. You simply take a checklist. You could make a checklist out of this document so that it'll be a primer when you go in. You've got this, and they say, did I see this or not? See, that's what I would do. I'd just print this thing off right here and yes or no, I saw this, and these are the kinds of things I saw, or no, I didn't. This is exactly what I would do. I'd make me a checklist out of this thing. Now, this is only if your district does not have a walkthrough document. If your district has a walkthrough document where you go in and check for classroom efficacy, then use it. If you don't, use this one. But again, you can't use this in a survey. You can't ask teachers, do you do these things? I mean, it's an IQ test. They'll all tell you, yeah, I do that. They don't even know what it is. Yeah, I do it. Got to go check and see. All right. The other thing that we're going to do in task 2 is we're going to survey the teachers to see how many of them get an opportunity to be involved in school leadership activities. And so here's the notion here. Earlier today, let me stop my share. Earlier today, I shared with you a collaborative document, the Whitaker survey in Qualtrics. Has anybody opened their Qualtrics account to see if they have that has arrived in your account? I did it earlier today. Can somebody, okay, so Jessica's going to be my partner tonight. All right, Jessica. So if you open that document, go to projects, and then there it will be. And so Jessica, can you share your screen with us?
I will try. I actually have not logged in because I didn't know if we were supposed to log in or not.
Yeah,
But I got the email, but I can still share my screen.
go ahead and show us the email that you got, and let's see what we get here.
Okay.
All right.
My computer is set, let's see. For some reason, my computer will not let me share through Zoom. It's a setting that I can't.
Okay, that's all right.
I don't know if someone else has it.
Somebody else have one that they can share? Thank you, Jessica. Anybody else get the, is anybody else gone into their Qualtrics account?
I'm trying to log into mine.
Everybody should go to Web Connect and go to Qualtrics. Everybody should go to Web Connect and Qualtrics. And if you've not established your account, as I asked you to do earlier this semester, you'll need to go to first time user. Let me share my screen. Okay. So under either do Qualtrics sign in, as you can see on my screen. If you've not established your account, do first time users. Hopefully those of you, when you establish your account, if you hadn't done it already as requested, that the collaborative document that I shared with you earlier today will be there anyway. If not, you'll have to let me know and I'll have to resend it. So when you click into Qualtrics, it'll look like this. This is your dashboard up here next to the XM that says main menu. Go to projects, and you should have one that says your name here, School Empowerment Survey. When you click on that, what you will see is the 5 questions from the Whitaker survey right here. There they are. I've already got them set up, got it ready to go.
Dr. Lamb,
Yes.
I have mine's pulled up. I signed
Good.
in.
Okay, so let me go back. Okay, can you let me stop my share? Can you share your screen?
Yes, hold on. Where do I go to share?
There should be a button down at the bottom of your screen that says share screen.
It's green. It should be green and share screen in the middle.
Is near the chat button.
Great.
Okay, there you go.
All right, so go up to your hashtags and click on those, and then go to projects. There aren't any. I sent everybody individually the project. Does anybody have it? So did any of you already have your account established today and don't have it?
I had my account established and I still don't have anything.
My account was established the same night that you told us to do
Yeah,
it.
and but the project didn't come through.
No.
No, I have.
Nothing's undershared with me.
Mm-mm.
All right, so let's see. Go ahead and stop your share. Let me share my screen.
So in my email that I got from you, there's a collaboration code. Do I need to put that in?
Yep.
Would that solve everything?
Yeah,
Just
there
call
it goes. You all should have gotten an email today. And you have to go in and activate the code for it to show up. Oh. As you can see, all of your name, I have shared it all with you. See everybody's name right here? So you got a code in the email that I sent
Yes.
that will activate the project that I sent you.
Where do we put the code?
Yeah, I don't.
So up at the top right, sorry, Dr. Lamb.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
I
When you
can't
log
see
in,
what you're, again, I'm not seeing, so you'll have to tell them.
at the top right, when you, like, if you click shared with me at the top right, there's a little plus sign that says add a collaboration code. And I just copy and paste it into that and it popped up.
So when you open your account and you go to projects, click on shared with me. You can see it on my screen now. Enter a collaboration code. I sent you the code today.
I have it now. I got it.
Excellent. Excellent.
If you did not receive an email, check your spam mail because a lot of times it will go to spam or sometimes it will.
I sent everybody one today, everybody. And if it didn't come through, it's in spam somewhere. But if you didn't get one, email me and I'll send it to you. So let me stop my share.
Dr. Lamb, in the comments, several have said we're able to copy and paste it in there, the code in there, and they're seeing what they're supposed to see now.
Oh, there we go. There it is. Look at there. Look at there. All right. So now, thank you. What we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to go up here to the top left and click on the hashtags again next to the XM. There you go. And click on projects. Everybody's going to need to do that and get out of it so that it's there. We go. Click on got it over there to get that out of the way. Down at the bottom right, got it. There you go. Click on that. Make that move. All right. At the end of your name here empowerment survey, come over here to the boxes, to the dots, the far right dots. There you go. And let's do rename project. All right. So where it says your name here, guess what goes there?
Dr. Lamb, when Dr. Revis starts speaking, will you be able to just resend that email to everybody again?
Yeah, I mean, I have to do it. It's manual. I have
Okay,
to do it one at a time, but I've got a list. I
okay,
just need to know who hadn't got it.
okay. They're stating it in the chat then. You'll be able to see in the chat who
Yeah.
needs it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now if you will go back, if you will click on that and open it up again. All right. And so here's your school empowerment survey. All right. So now everybody needs to be following this. First thing you do when you get your code in, you get it. All right. I need for you to click on the publish button. Publish.
Dr. Lamb, mine keeps showing up as other people's names.
Yeah.
You got to change it. You got to change it right quick and publish it as your name.
So we just type our name in that space?
And it says 8 people are currently editing.
Yeah,
You gotta
you're
make a
all
copy.
using a
You gotta make
shared
a copy of it.
document, but
Oh,
you're
okay.
changing it to
Oh,
your
how do I
name
make a copy?
and then publishing it so that it's now yours. All right, and so it's got your name on it. All right, so again, and Alicia, please go back up to the hashtags at the top left. Click on projects to get out. Go to the end. Is it going to change everybody's to the same one? Is it going to continue to change the same one?
Carl said you have to make a copy.
Yeah, that's what we were getting ready to do.
Right.
So everybody just stop for a minute. We got to make a copy. I didn't know it was going to update in real time. It normally doesn't update in real time like this. You're going to have, so the idea here is you take and change and put it in your name, publish it, make a copy, and then it becomes yours only. That's where we're headed.
Dr. Lamb, Jessica said that when she hit hers, that when I made a copy, it said, I don't have permission to publish.
That is correct. She has to collaborate it back to me. And
Okay.
then I'll turn it, and then all I have to do is make a copy and send it back.
Okay, thank you.
That is correct. It's a little obtuse. I agree. But it was easier to do it this way than teach them how to build their own. Because that's rather ordeal. So we're gonna stop right now. So y'all saw how this went. You gotta change the name on it. If it will let you publish. If not, you make a copy and send it to me. And then when I get it, I simply copy. That's what those dings you heard. I will copy it, publish it, send it back, and then it will have your name on it and you will be able to distribute it. You collaborate it to me. At the end of the line over here, go ahead and stop your share, Andalicia. I will. Okay, so what happens is, let me share my screen. At the end of the line over here, projects. Okay, so what happens is, at the end of the line over here with it closed, you just simply collaborate it to me. You can collaborate it to me. Okay, so let me go over here and see if shared with me. Here we go. So I'm going to open Jackie's, publish it. I'm going to see if I can collaborate it back to her without copying it. Sometimes it will let me, sometimes so it's Jackie's. Projects. Okay, yep, it's the same one. Go back to Jackie's. Yeah, it's gonna make me copy it. Which is no problem. See, now it's active.
Dr. Lamb, I need some help. I have my name at the top and I have my name on the survey. But when I say publish, there's no like where to copy it. Am I supposed to push publish and then publish again?
Well, if it won't let you publish, for whatever reason, it's not letting me collaborate these either.
Okay.
Again, everybody needs to stop. And so let me work on this one at a time and
Mhm.
see if that's what our problem is. But as you can see, it won't let me. I'm working on Jackie's right now. Hers is active.
Mhm. Okay.
But I've got to figure out why it's not letting me distribute it. Or let me see if it'll let me distribute it.
Dr. Lamb, stress again, tell everybody to take hands off right now until you get to that point.
Yeah, we're good. Let's see, is this one? See, I can't figure out where that one keeps going. I made a copy of that survey. See, there's our problem. I might have to go back and do this one again. Everybody quit changing the name on them. Let me finish up here. Okay, so we got Jackie's. Go back to projects. I need to make a copy. Jackie's. Copy project. Copy. So what happened is Sarah went in after that one. So I'm gonna have to work on Sarah's now. So Sarah, I'm now on yours. This is a copy. If I open it up, publish it. Let me see if I can collaborate it back to Sarah without having to copy it. Nope. It is not giving me the collaborate option no matter what I do. Let me sign out and come back in. For some reason, I think we've overwhelmed the system here. It is. I'm not going to publish. Come on, you can do it. I think what I'm going to have to do is resend these. I mean, it's not cooperating now. So I will, but this is what the survey looks like. I will send it to you. You'll have it no later than tomorrow. I will send this to you in a usable form. Again, it may be that you have to, go in. Let me stop my share. It may be that you have to go in and put the code in like you did tonight. So that was illustrative. But we also found out tonight that it's, I'm going to have to do this as an individual. I've sent them individually today, but I'm going to have to do something different than that. But that's okay. So the notion here is we're going to use Qualtrics to send out this five question test. I can teach you to build your own, but I want to do this one this way. I want you to send it out collaboratively so I can watch what's going on with it, so I can see what your data looks like to make sure that we, just like tonight, we stumble into these kind of problems. And if I send it to you that way, I can monitor what's going on. I can't monitor your accounts otherwise. But the notion here is we're going to collect this data. So what are we going to do with this data? Again, Dr. Hamilton has made us a wonderful slideshow of what we're going to do with it. So we're going to collect our data. We're going to look at what we're looking for as a gap analysis between what we should be seeing or what the ideal would be and what the real is. We're going to identify the gaps between practice, which is the real, and research-based strategies, which is the ideal. And as we go through this list of things that we want to see here, let me move this out of the way. Then you're going to write sections on each of these. Building efficacy, you're going to do your research. You'll write these things. You'll collaborate with your PLC to analyze your data. And you'll write out narrative for each of these. And so I want us to dig into this one. After describing your data collection process, how did you go about? Well, I used a walkthrough instrument, and I went in the room and I did walkthroughs on 3 teachers. I had my Marzano checklist, or I had my Gaston County Schools walkthrough checklist. And then I sent a survey out with these 5 questions about Whitaker's empowerment, and I got them back. And after you write those, you will identify the needs or gaps between research and the actual practice, the real and the ideal. And then you'll write a section on building efficacy, empowerment. What does the research say? What does research say about results-oriented professional development? What does research say about recruit, placement, and mentoring of school staff? What does the research say approaches to or for evaluating school staff? What does research say about teacher leadership and decision-making? What does the research say, and what's the reality of your building? That's what your data is telling you. And you address it to each of those bullets. What the research says, that this is what I should be seeing, this is what my data says, and this is what I am seeing. That's a call to gap analysis between the real and the ideal. Research is the ideal. What should I be seeing in each of these areas? What did I see in these areas? That's what you're doing. So again, it tells you, you describe your data collection strategies, what criteria you use in identifying the gaps. You got together with your team. It tells you right here what you'll be doing. Under each of the 5 headings, you tell us the real and the ideal, just as I said there. And this will tell you, she's kind of broken it down, the things that you ought to address under each of these bullets. Research-oriented professional development. What is the research? What did the survey, what did the teachers report on the survey from the observation checklist? What did you see? Identify strengths and possible gaps. She's got this for all of these. She goes through each bullet to say, this is what your narrative should have. Approaches to staff development, again, same thing. She outlines each of those bullets that I just did back here on this one that we want to see. Right here, she outlines for you what you should see under each of these bullets. She just, I mean, she couldn't be any more. She couldn't be any better in terms of telling you exactly what you should address under each of those bullets. Under that bullet of building efficacy and empowerment amongst, these are the things you need to address. And she's done that for every one of the bullets for you. And then you summarize what you saw, gap analysis, and make sure you're using your helpful hints to shape your narrative. Everything in a chart, table, and graph. So right here. So this is how you would narratively display what you saw when you went out. Did you see the 9 high yield strategies? Obviously on these, yes, you did. On those, no, you didn't. And you can write some notes down. I saw this or didn't see that. That's remember, that's that checklist, that Marzano checklist or your school checklist. You should graphically display that like this. The 5 questions on that survey, we're going to have something that looks like that. And again, that's what the checklist looks like. That's kind of how you would analyze the graphics that you would provide to show us the data. And you could use a bar graph or you could use a pie chart like this. I actually prefer the bar graphs, but that's up to you. And so that's what it's going to look like. So the overall notion here is what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out what the research ideal is, and then what the real story is in our school. Are teachers using high yield strategies? Are they empowered in their classroom? And then how much do teachers get to do around the building? Are they being called on to fulfill these leadership roles in their building? This is the real. Compare it to the ideal. And then we're going to build a professional growth plan that addresses that gap that gets us from where we are to where we need to be. So that's what we do. Once you get task 2 knocked out, it is the bulk, it is the heavy lifting in this evidence. You go to 3 and write your plan, as we always do. And we use the same graphic organizer. So I'll turn it over to who's next, Dr. Steadman, in task 3?
Well, just a reminder, task 1 is what does the research say? What should best practices? This is what it should look like. Task 2, when you get there, this is actually what it looks like in your school. The good, the bad, the ugly. This is what it is. Dr. Lamb, let me ask you to think about something. With the Qualtrics, what they're required to do, just like you did that 3-minute video on how to set up their competency folio. Once you figure this out, would you have time to maybe do a 3-minute on what they need to do at this point, and send it to us, and we can work?
Yeah, I'm going to work on a video later tonight.
So don't stress over this. We'll figure it out.
What we probably should do is just go ahead and use SurveyMonkey and make your own and send it, and then we'll work on this one as we go.
Okay.
It's been a little bit stubborn as a group activity. Now, I've done group activities with some of my doctorals before, and we made it work fine, but for whatever reason, it's not working fine now. So my suggestion is I will make it work. We'll use it later on, but for right now, just use SurveyMonkey or Google Survey or whatever, and just send those 5 questions out.
Okay.
You know what 5 questions to send.
Thank you, Dr. Lamb. And before Dr. Rivas takes over, Evelyn, what is your question?
I think you just answered it, because I was going to say, could we use those same 5 questions that he sent to us?
Yes.
He just said it, so I lowered my hand. So I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I want you to have them, and you can see Qualtrics.
Yes.
But obviously, there's something gone wrong in the system, because the collaboration is, even on other surveys, is not working tonight. So,
okay,
Dr. Lamb, do you think we could use the Qualtrics and just copy your questions into
you can make your own and name it something completely different. Now, it won't let you distribute it until you collaborate it to me. And, you know, it's got to be closed with those little 3 dots at the end. So if you build one that looks like mine, name it something else, close it. And if it'll collaborate to me, we're golden. that's the whole thing. For whatever reason, nothing is collaborating tonight.
And
Worked fine earlier today.
and those same 5 questions in my PowerPoint that's going to be in Blackboard, those same 5 questions are in task 1. The PowerPoint, they're there. Okay.
And so to the question that came with that, get out there. To the question that just came up. Great day.
Okay.
Let me see. What have we done here?
Okay. While you're looking, Kim, what's your question?
I had a clarifying question about the checklist walkthroughs. It mentions about going back to the PLC and discussing the results. So is the recommendation that we do the walkthroughs primarily in our classrooms that are participating in the PLC that we created in the AAPTEL?
No, you can go to any classroom.
Now, let me address that one.
Go ahead. Okay.
Please remember, the actual walkthroughs that you do, we only expect you to do 2 or 3. Well, you can't gauge your entire school on 2 or 3. So Collaborate's not working on anything tonight. If you want to build a survey in Qualtrics tomorrow or later tonight, and when you build it and close it, you come to the end over here, you click this button, you have to collaborate it to me, and then I publish it and send it back to you, and it's ready to distribute. But for whatever reason, as you can see, Collaborate is not working tonight. I don't know why. That's a first. But I mean, I'm pulling up things that had nothing to do with this class or with these surveys. And so obviously something's gone wonky in Qualtrics tonight. But back to the question, 2 or 3 walkthroughs is not representative of your whole school. We're having you do those to learn how to do them and how you would do a walkthrough and what a walkthrough looks like and consists of. What you do is you go to your principal and say, can you share with me your walkthrough data? I don't need the names, don't need to know who. But if we looked at these 9 high yield strategies, what percentage do people, are teachers doing this? And they'll be able to rattle it right off. They'll be able to tell you, 90% use questioning and cluing, 10% use non-linguistic representation. That's what we're talking about.
And it's more of an interview with your administration
Exactly.
about walkthroughs.
Yeah.
Okay. Because my principal doesn't do walkthroughs.
But they have to do some type of they should be doing some type of observation.
Yeah, they're doing observations.
Yeah,
okay.
And they can tell you from their observations.
Okay.
I'm talking
Thank
about.
you.
You just ask them whether it's from walkthroughs or whether it's from observation. Here are the 9 high yield strategies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What percent of our faculty does cooperative learning? That kind of thing. The questions are in the AAPTEL task and prompts. It's in the it's in the template. You will find it in the template. If you need the questions, the 5 questions from Whitaker, it's in the template, the AAPTEL template. Let me share my screen and show that again. Share. Evidence template, right there they are. I've got them in red. They're the 5. This is Todd Whitaker, best practices for teacher empowerment and leadership. Teacher has input in professional development offerings at the school. Teacher plays a role in development of school improvement plan. Teacher plays a role in setting school-wide policy. Teacher has input in the development and/or management of the school budget, and teacher plays a role in the hiring process for new teachers. And here are the 9. And so what you will do after doing a couple walkthroughs on this part, You will go to your principal and say, from walkthroughs or observations, what percentage of our teachers do these things on a regular basis? And they'll be able to tell you, as Dr. Stebbins said, it's more of an interview. Non-linguistic representation will always be the lowest. Questioning and cluing will always be the highest. Summarizing and note-taking will be high in secondary. Homework and practice will be high in elementary. Cooperative learning will be high in middle school. Those are kind of general things. Generating and testing hypothesis will be high in your natural sciences or physical and mathematical sciences courses, not so much elsewhere. So
the question was asked how many surveys they needed to get back. You send them out as many as you can and work with what you get back. You're not going to get
whatever you get back is fine. Whatever you get back is fine. That's what you have to work with. That's what you'll have to work with. Again, what you're trying to, you're trying to get some data together. So for example, if nobody's doing non-linguistic representation in your building, but they know what the 9 high yield strategies are, does it do a lot of good to do a lot of whole group work with them on explaining the 9 high yield strategies? They know what they are, they just don't know how to do non-linguistic representation. What format of professional development would you recommend to try to address that deficiency in your building? Would you do whole group? Would you do PLC work where people brought in examples and shared, or would you do individual? I'd probably work on that one in PLCs. Now, if 95% of my staff was using best practices, was using high yield strategies, when I went in the room, I saw evidence of all 9 of them. The 5% that aren't using them, what should you do with them? I'd do one-on-one with them. Exactly. We go back to Linda Darling Hammond's methods of delivery of professional development. There's 3. There's whole group, there's small group, which we call PLC, and then there's one-on-one. But if 95% of your faculty isn't using best practices, it'd be awfully hard to do one-on-one with all 95% of your faculty. That might be 100 teachers. We can't do one-on-one with them. We'd have to do whole group on something like explaining what high yield strategies are. The whole notion of professional development is one size fits nobody. We got to customize it for our situation. Most of our teachers know what it is. A lot of whole group won't help. We've got to do it in small group or one-on-one to help them with individual things. Or if I'm in a school that doesn't use high yield strategies at all, I've got to do a lot of whole group to get them all on board what it is. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out on the classroom empowerment piece, we're trying to figure out what is the best way to professionally grow our faculty into using these and being efficacious, doing a good job with these high yield strategies. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Well, that'd be Grant. High yield strategies are good because why do we call them high yield strategies? Because they're high yield strategies. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. There's a reason why we refer to them as high yield strategies. They yield high results at test time. What's our job as a school administrator? Make a good number go up or a bad number go down. We're trying to make a good number go up. That's test scores. So the notion here is test scores count. Test scores matter. Performance counts. Performance matters. We've got to get teachers using high yield strategies if we want to do well at test time. That's not teaching to the test. We're not just giving them copies of tests and skilling and drilling them. It's our methodology. It's our delivery system. There are certain things that we can do that facilitate kids to learn more. We know that. Let's use them. Let's do that. I saw a cartoon the other day, two politicians, and one of them said, I'm just spitballing here, but why don't we propose and support things that people actually like and would vote for? Well, that's a pretty good notion. So here, I'm just spitballing here. Why not have teachers teaching methodology that gets better results where kids learn more? Just thinking out loud here. Wouldn't that be the thing that you would want to do? To create a culture of teaching and learning in your building? And then why not do a professional growth plan that best fits the needs that they have? How many of you ever had to sit through professional development that was basically the first level whole group stuff, and you were already an expert or already were doing it, but they made you sit through it too, because one size fits one, professional development, North Carolina and South Carolina is one size fits all. How many of you have had to sit through professional development all day long on something that you were already doing or already knew more than the person that they got to get up and talk about? The whole notion here is we want to stop doing professional development that way. We want to do very customized, very curated professional development. If we got one person on your hall that doesn't know how to do this, that one person need to work with that one person, not make all y'all come every week and get a whipping over that one person that doesn't know what they're doing. That would be one-on-one. If you got a beginning teacher on your hall, are they going to make you go through everything that they do with that beginning teacher that can barely find the building, and you just hope shows up sober and clean clothes every day? Did they make you do the same thing they make that person do? Hopefully not. Hopefully they're doing one-on-one with that person, but they're not doing that to you. Think about all the bad professional development that you've ever had in your career. None of you are new, by the way. I know all of you been at this a while. Y'all are all pretty expert. This is the advanced group. Y'all are the postmasters group. There's no kids in this group. There's no beginners. It's all nothing but grown folks in this group. And you all know that you've had to sit through professional development in your career when you sat and thought, what were they thinking? This is not for me. We're trying to teach you a method of putting together a professional growth plan for your building, which is a PD plan that speaks to the individual needs and the individuals that need them. If teachers aren't doing a particularly good job with one of the 9 high yield strategies, let's work on it in PLCs. Let's don't make everybody go to a whole group session where we sit and get up on the board and point and show another PowerPoint. Good Lord. And we can't one-on-one everybody. That's not a very efficacious system either. That's for beginners and people who aren't getting it. We can harness the power of the PLC among professionals to share ideas and grow these strategies that way. So that's the notion that we're trying to get here is we're trying to build a culture of teaching and learning. And one of the ways to incentivize teachers to be better classroom teachers is to give them leadership opportunities outside of their classroom in the building. It's just that simple. This is not rocket science. We can't pay them more. But if we can give them leadership positions, that will incentivize them to be better teachers inside. So to conclude mine tonight is use SurveyMonkey or whatever. I'll try to get you something as soon as I can get to the tech people to figure out why the collaborate button has stopped working in Qualtrics, but we'll just assume that it's not going to work for another day or two. I don't want to hold y'all up. Use SurveyMonkey, use whatever you normally survey with to get your 5-question survey out. Go ahead and do that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lamb. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a decision unless I've collaborated with Dr. Revis online. I think you've got more than enough at this point to get started. I think if we go any further, I think you're going to be in overdrive.
Yeah.
So we can handle task 3 and task 4 when it's time to get to task 3 and task 4 in class. You know what you've got to do to get in the, and again, like Dr. Lamb said, once you get past task 2, you've done the hardest work.
Oh yeah.
So let's don't even focus on task 3 at this point. task 1 and task 2 are aligned completely with each other. Task 1 is just, we're giving you permission to do task 2. That's all we're doing. And then you actually put task 1 to work when you get to task 2. So let's stop with that. And then we will cover that whenever that time gets here. Is that a good decision? Everybody good with that? Okay, good. Okay. Dr. Crawford, I saw you. You've been quiet tonight, but good to see you.
Dr. Stedman, I just had a quick question to make
Okay.
sure I know what's due tonight, this week. Is it just the case study that is due?
That's all this week, yes. And you get started on task 1 of the AAPTEL. Remember, we said that even though it's fall break next week, that doesn't mean that you don't work. Okay?
Correct. So all next week, no Zoom class.
No Zoom class next week. You don't have to put up with any of us next week.
I'll be praying for y'all.
Okay.
And
Well,
my
thank you.
classmates.
I need prayers. And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you should be able to blast right through task 1 because you're just doing your research and identifying your tools. We've already done that for you. You should be able to move on into task 2, but you should meet with your class again in a week and a half on Tuesday before you get moved to task 3 anyway. They'll want to work with you on that before you move any further.
Okay.
You've
So our
got
next,
plenty to do for the next week and a half until we meet again.
Right.
okay, what date is our next meeting?
It'll be Tuesday week.
Okay.
We start back on Tuesday night class. And that's all we'll have that week is the Tuesday night class.
The 24th. No, I'm
24th,
sorry. The 25th.
25th, yeah.
25th.
Okay. Thank you.
Tuesday the 25th, y'all will come back together again. And so you've got gosh, what, 12 days to knock out task 1 and task 2, and then y'all will be ready to roll.
And I will join you that night, but I will be joining you from the Big Apple. I'll be in New York that night.
Well, good for you. That is the personification of country come to town.
Oh,
All right, I'm done. That's all I know.
okay. Thanks,
Appreciate
everybody.
being with us tonight.
And Dr. Revis, Dr. Crawford, I think you understand that we needed to stop. So I think everybody's okay with that.
The Qualtrics snafu burned up too much of our time, but we're good. We're still gonna get our
That's okay.
surveys out.
We're good.
With
And,
whatever that we've got until we get Qualtrics up and running again.
Okay. Thank everybody, and have a good rest of your week.
All righty.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good fall break.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.